crews are continuing to tackle a huge wildfire in the Highlands.
Major wildfire in Sutherland.
Fire crews have been tackling a huge blaze on Saddleworth Moor.
This wildfire in Aberdeenshire threatened a wind farm.
Wildfires, so regular now in Scotland, are releasing hundreds and thousands of tonnes of peatland carbon as planet-warming greenhouse gases every time. In 2019, an area the size of 5,860 rugby pitches was burnt out in wildfires.
Flames in the hills above Golspie visible for miles around.
It's one of the biggest moorland fires they have ever had to deal with.
A newly published paper, Low Severity Fires Enhance Long-Term Carbon Retention of Peatlands, researchers have, for the first time, established proof that small fires on peatlands protect stored carbon and enhance peatlands' long-term storage of it. Low severity fire, therefore, like Muirburn, protects the stored carbon below and prevents the catastrophic loss of huge amounts of greenhouse gases which are emitted during wildfires. By creating a decay-inhabiting crust on clumps of moist soil particles within the peatland, the smaller surface fires help protect the stored carbon and enhance peatlands' long-term storage of it, even during times of extreme drought. This is a managed Muirburn, done in season and referred to as a cool burn due to it removing the surface vegetation. This is done in patches or strips, creating fire breaks across moorland where carbon is stored. This is not Muirburn. This is a wildfire, started in an area with no fuel management. The fuel had built up for years and years, and when it caught fire, it burned for days, scorching everything in its path. For weeks, the peat below the ground smoked. In 2019, a wildfire at the RSPB's Flow Country is estimated to have released 700,000 tonnes of carbon stored in peat, doubling Scotland's entire climate emissions in just 6 days. These high-intensity wildfires leave the peat bogs damaged, causing them to emit huge amounts of stored carbon into the atmosphere as greenhouse gases.
We do it because it's about regenerating the heather, primarily for red grouse, but it also benefits a huge array of different wildlife and mammals, birds, hares. It's a very important tool for also combating wildfire because we've broken up the fuel load with our management. There isn't so much a threat of these huge fires like you see further north in Caithness and Sutherland, where the heather maybe wasn't managed to such a degree as what we do, and it leads to these massive hill fires that take days, weeks to put out, and you just absolutely lose massive amount of habitat, and the carbon release from them wildfires tends to be huge. As long as it's done responsibly, at the right time of the year, when it's not too hot that it's just scorching the earth. That's not what we're after. We want a different variety of mosses and everything left there, because that brings a huge insect life and everything else for the ground nesting birds. As long as it's done responsibly, I only see it as a benefit and a huge plus for the management of the hills of Scotland. If you see smoke coming from the hill, in an area that is managed for grouse, you can rest assured 99.9% of the time it's a controlled burn and it's being handled by guys that know what they're doing.
Not managing fuel load on our peatlands is courting environmental and climate tragedy.